Hello, looks like we're live. For anybody tuning in, thanks for joining. I'm Alexi. My gaming handle is Cloven Pine Games, and what you're watching is Vow of the Knight-Aspirants to Seek the Tower Perilous, Session 2 of 4. So this is a series of the in development, Powered by the Apocalypse game, Vow of the Knight-Aspirants. We are playing this through the Gauntlet gaming community. Check out all the cool things the Gauntlet is doing at gauntlet-rpg.com or on Twitter at gauntletrpg. This game, Vow of the Knight-Aspirants, is a tale of Arthurian squires on the cusp of knighthood, venturing into a dark fairy tale wood to prove themselves worthy by finding the elusive and magical Tower Perilous. We began last session by creating our set of characters and setting them off onto an adventure. They encountered a living statue and a peasant boy in battle with her. They learned some secrets about a very special cow. They have made an essay against the bandits, ambushing a group of bandits waiting to ambush travelers on the road, and captured a number of bandits, but one got away to warn the Bandit King that they're coming because they are going after a missing tiara that they believe the Bandit King has claimed. So it's very exciting to be back for the second session of this series. This series represents the first time I've gotten to run this new game over the course of multiple sessions. I've been doing a number of one-shots to test it out, but now we are testing out this game over the course of a series. So we're going to keep an eye on the notches the characters mark, because if they fill up their notches, they can get advancements. And we also have something very cool here that a new player is joining in. So we're going up from 3 PCs to 4 PCs this session. And when the time comes, I will prompt our players to introduce themselves and introduce their characters, and we'll get to know that fourth character joining the mix. If you're interested in the development of Vow of the Knight-Aspirants, I have put a link below this video for you to check out. So with that out of the way, let us meet our players. I'd love for folks to introduce themselves as players first. We'll come back around for characters second. But first, introduce yourselves as players. If you don't mind giving your name, pronouns if you wish, online handle if you so desire, or any other information about you that you want folks to know. I'm Alexi Sargent, he, him. Follow my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. And today, the day we're recording this, is the release day for another of my games, Back Again from the Broken Land. I'm wearing my Back Again from the Broken Land t-shirt. I'm excited that Back Again from the Broken Land is out there. The PDF is now available. If you go to Cloven Pine Games on Twitter, I'm sure you'll see me linking to it there. But that's a game about small adventurers sharing stories on the long walk home from an epic war. So if that sounds interesting to you, that's a game you can purchase right now, as opposed to Vow of the Knight-Aspirants, which is a game in playtesting, though hopefully someday a game you can purchase. I have a good feeling about it. It's been going pretty well so far. So that's me, Alexi, Cloven Pine Games. Let me cue my players to introduce themselves, starting with Chris. Chris, tell us a little about yourself.
Hey, I'm Chris Newton. I use he, him pronouns, and you can find me online on Twitter at INARVAN. That's at Enervon. If you are just really bored and are looking to scroll around for nerdy takes on various nerdy things.
Very good. Great to have you, Chris. Next up, we have Joe. Joe, please tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Joe. He, him. That's about it. I don't have any handles or anything like that, but so sorry. Just a messy basement.
No worries. Thank you for joining us to play. And handles are not required, merely an imagination. You're up next, Danielle. Please tell us about yourself.
Yes, I'm Danielle, built she, her, and my online isn't 100% very related to my gaming, but I'm usually on Twitter at BuiltHouse. But I'm just happy to be here to get a chance to play these really cool games, and always happy to come in and join playtesting, and also get to see some of these games come out. So excited to be here with you guys.
Fantastic. Great to have you. Last but not least, our new player, David. Please tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is David, or David MK, he, him pronouns, and my gaming handle is Aqua Vertigo on Twitter, and I'm a game designer / tinkerer and just love being in support of other game designers and the Gauntlet community. So I'm really pleased to be able to join this game tonight.
Fantastic. Great to have you here. And I am excited to get to meet your character. But first, let's reintroduce our returning characters so we can wrap up with our newcomer. Chris, back to you. Tell us, please, if you would, about your character. And I am sharing the screen so folks can see the art you've picked out for him.
Okay, I'm playing Caedun. He is using the Temperament playbook, the Serpent, and the Aspirant playbook, the Clarion. He is a scion of heretics with a cautious manner, steady eyes, who carries a reforged sword. He has, awkwardly stumbled into somewhat of a leadership role, I guess. And during the last session, he heroically disarmed one of the bandits who unfortunately subsequently got away, but he didn't get away with his dagger, which is still in my shoulder.
Yes, that's true. That's a good way to look at things. Caedun did a great job, taking point, leading the other squires, and then did get stabbed for his trouble. So we will see, how he deals with that when we pick up again with those characters. Let's meet the next of these squires. Joe, please tell us a little about your character.
Okay, so I'm playing Gaston Chevalier. I think we've decided that's how we'll pronounce that. Chevalier.
Yeah.
Gaston is the second son of a well-to-do noble house. So he is sort of the fun-loving, nothing gets him down sort of coast through life, because he never had to worry about taking over any responsibility. I am playing, it's the Boar, OA, not RE playbook, and combined with the Chalice. So he's sort of got this noble background, sort of a booming voice, but these gentle eyes, because the Chalice has sort of the healing element to it, and a nice large two-handed sword. So
yeah, that is very fun, and I think we'll get to see Gaston lead into that healing element soon, unless I miss my guess. Let's meet the next of our squires. Danielle, please tell us about your character.
Yes, I am playing Jillian Prydain, who goes by Gilly or Gilly, and she is the Colt, which means that she loves to charge into trouble, opportunity, excuse me, and the Hourglass, which means that she is blessed/cursed with occasional flashes of insight that she's very bad at holding back. And so she has got ample opportunity to demonstrate that, and basically crashed around this time, interfering between a talking statue and the peasant, and then basically with assist from Gaston in this great 1-2 moment as he boosted her into the bandit thing, got to wave the sword that's too big for her, which David has very helpfully extended in the pic, so now it's going to be accurate to what it should look like. Thank you.
I love that now we've got a larger sword in the picture.
So because it looks like I feel like it is a little too heavy for her as well, but she got to swing it around to great effect and help crash the bandits out. But then the exertion of that was a lot. So she's currently rocking one condition, but is very, very, has no idea that things might be going south for any of us in different corners.
Nice. Very good. Well, let us meet the new player character that we have. So Daniel, please introduce us to the new squire that's going to be joining our quest here. Oh, you are muted, maybe?
All right, there we go.
There we go.
So Caedun goes by K, Blythe, and he's a young noble kid, probably third or fourth in line, who really hasn't been meeting the standards of his family. So they've sort of putting him on track to be a squire to prove himself to the line. And I've chosen the owl and the bridge. The owl is more of the knowledge seeker book type sort of character, and the bridge is more of a diplomatic, you know, talking, trying to make peace with different things, I believe. And his fingers are stained. You probably can't even get it off. Stained with ink from books and scrolls. And he carries a short sword and dagger, and he probably just has the sword that he has probably never used except from when he was required in training. His dagger he probably uses as a prop to keep his book open, and and maybe to cut threads and whatnot to tie things together. But he's just doesn't have the fighter mentality yet in his head, and he's just very curious about the world and about people, and he's got this sort of an explorer's mentality, which probably means he'll fall into danger without realizing it quite a
bit. Oh, he sounds like enormous fun. Let's see. Ink-stained fingers, short sword and dagger, searching eyes. So he's a big reader. And kind of the owl playbook comes with this idea that you've got a tome full of books. Is that something is that something you've kind of brought with you for your own edification? It's not that the tomes are meant to be helpful to the quest that you're being kind of dispatched to join.
Yeah, imagine like a selection of rare books, maybe like the equivalent of a shorthand encyclopedia, he's probably going to share this important information with his companions, whether they think it's valuable or not. But yeah, it's definitely for the sake of learning more than anything else.
Yeah, that makes good sense to me. Here's a question. You've heard a little about the other squires, the other aspiring knights, whom you'll be working with, and I think we'll say for the sake of our cohesion as a group of player characters that you know them from before, right? Like when you appear on screen this session, these are people whom you know and who know you, who recognize you as someone trustworthy when you arrive to join in their quest. But which of them do you admire?
Wow, let's see. Well, I think probably, is it Caedun? Is that how you pronounce that? Probably Caedun's like what he should be like. And Gaston's probably someone that he would get along with, but probably shouldn't be getting along with, because he should be really learning how to be a knight, squire and all that.
You think his family would disapprove, would feel Gaston as a bad influence?
I think they would think if I think they would say that he's a bad influence, and maybe Gillian, because Gillian seems, from what I remember from the video, seems to be taking things pretty seriously. Is that correct, or is that incorrect?
Yeah, I mean, she's taking things as serious. She's very intense about it, but like as fast as she does things, she may not look as serious as like Caedun.
Yeah,
but
so she's got a real drive to kind of like prove herself, I feel like. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like maybe Kay vacillates between Gilly and Caedun, like looking for like a role model. He probably goes back and forth between the two.
That's pretty good. I like that. Nice. And you know what? I will ask a couple questions about how the others think about Kay when we get the scene of bringing them together. But to start, I'd actually like to have Our scene began in the depths of the Bleakwood, a dark and tangled wood full of old magic, into which these squires have been sent to seek the Tower Perilous. And we see the single figure of Kay, making his way through the woods. Let me ask Kay, what gives you the sense that this part of the woods are restless and unsettled as you as you kind of move through this environment?
So you're asking me?
Yeah. Help me
Okay.
paint the scene.
Yeah,
What gives
so-
Kay the sense of the woods being restless and unsettled as he moves through them?
Yeah, so I think given his attention to the natural world, probably, the watching the creatures, the insects, the animals.
Mhm.
For some reason, I like this Disney scene of like the animals scurrying away from something, and maybe it's like gets really quiet, like unnaturally still.
Yeah.
And there's like
quiet,
wind moving
quiet.
around, but it's like still and dark, and it's almost like he can hear his own heartbeat at that.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. In your bag that you're clutching with you, your satchel, you have these books that you've brought along for your edification. You also have a strange thing that the wizard Kestrel found in some old part of Castle Luthenbell. He pulled out this big glass lens, right? Like as big as any of your books, and he gave this to you and charged you with finding the other squires to join them on their quest, because he said he believed this lens would be crucial for them. You don't know, what this lens is, right? Or like how it's going to be useful to them, but like you've dutifully ventured, away from the safety of the castle and into the woods in hopes of finding where your fellow squires have gone. You've a little bit lost their trail though. So at the moment you are kind of casting about, seeing if you can find where they have gotten to. And it's around this time that you spot a large shape kind of looming between two of the trees. Looks like some sort of animal, but a big and weighty one, right? Like all the creatures you've seen like kind of scurrying away seem to have been moving away from this place. What do you do?
So, do I have a torch with me, or is there moonlight, or is there any other light around with me?
Yeah, I would. I would posit that moonlight is filtering down through the branches above, but you can also have flint and tinder if you so desire. That seems like a reasonable thing to be carrying.
So I feel like if there's moonlight, like I'm like my attention is partially fixed on this shape, and so like keeping eyes on it, my hands are going into the satchel, pulling out the lens, and then working like by my shoulder to try to get the light from the moon to go through the lens and to shine on whatever this thing is, not knowing what the effects are going to be.
Oh man, amazing. Just kind of capturing the moonlight and bringing it through this lens towards this dark shape. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's not a lycanthropy animal or anything like that that'll be enhanced by this. I'm sure it's just some deer or something that's stuck in the brambles. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the moonlight seems to pass through the lens and kind of like almost spotlight this shape, and it kind of resolves for you, right, from this indistinct shadow into what is clearly an enormous black-furred wolf just staring at you, kind of with unblinking eyes.
Does it seem like a large normal wolf or like something supernatural? Is there any determination on that?
Go ahead and search for truth if you would.
Yeah.
That is one of our basic moves in this game. When you search for truth about a person, place, or situation, or animal, I feel, say how you're investigating and roll plus ingenuity. In some ways, you've already said how you're investigating. You're shining a light on it.
Yes.
Let's see if your ingenuity is enough to help you ask some questions
Where
here.
is our dice roller?
Oh, yes. In the Safety and Resources tab, there's a link to a dice roller. You can also use physical dice if you've got them in front of you and want to, but yeah, there's a roll with me room we can use.
So, yeah, I feel like I'm like reciting like under my breath, like the passage I recall about lupus, canine, whatever, wolves as I'm doing this. Let's see. Okay, so 2d6 plus 2. So I'm adding 2 to that. Wow, I got a 4 with my plus 2.
What?
I rolled 2 1s.
You rolled snake eyes on this? Are you sure you rolled d6s and not d4s?
I mean, I'm on the dice roller. You can see it there.
Oh no,
2d6.
it says you rolled it. It says you rolled a 4 and a
Oh,
1.
I'm sorry. That's Caedun that rolled that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That was the
Okay.
snake eyes. That was the final roll of the previous session.
Okay.
That's what led to Caedun getting
All right.
stabbed.
Yep.
You got a 7.
I got a
Yay!
7.
Wow, I thought this was about to be less good for you, but no. Okay, you rolled a 7 on a 7 to 9. Ask one question below. So, for the sake of anyone watching along, the search for truth questions are: what here is not what it seems to be? What danger or injustice needs to be addressed here? What person or concept holds true authority here? Where is my best opportunity to make a difference? Or what here can be used to blank? And you fill in the blank with what you're trying to do. So, Kay, what do you want to know?
What here can be used to befriend this creature?
Oh, that's fascinating.
I'm thinking of my bridge mentality.
Yeah. You gotta think about how to forge connections with folks. Yeah, I think here's what I'll tell you. You can tell it's not quite a normal wolf. It's too still and too purposeful. The way it is poised here, and so you get the sense that this wolf could understand if you explain what your quest is, why you're carrying this lens, and if you present yourself as a sincere quester, you might be able to befriend this creature that's clearly more knowledgeable and intentional than a brute animal would usually be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what I would do, more than willing to share some of the salted mutton that I have in my pack too.
As a token of goodwill.
Respect, right? And say, and thanks to it sharing its time with me. But yeah, I will. Kay will quite frankly, very friendly, discuss and share why he's out here and who he's looking for. He'll describe in detail the companions. Doesn't want to take up too much time of this creature's life tonight, but wants to make sure that they understand the intentions.
Yeah. Do you hold out the mutton or like place it down in front of what's the like?
Yeah, I would. Kay would place it probably on like a stump or something, on a rock or something, and then step back to give it space. Doesn't feel like it's a trap or anything.
Yeah, the wolf approaches kind of like very, very deliberately, picks up the mutton in its jaws and kind of like chews it thoughtfully as you explain, who you are and what you've come to do.
Mhm.
And then like with like, after it gives a one swallow, looks you in the eyes, nods deliberately, and turns around and walks a short distance, then like turns to look at you as if to say, "Are you coming?"
Definitely fine.
Beautiful. All right. So you're setting off following this wolf.
Yes, definitely.
That's great. Then we will pick up with you shortly, but let's go and check on the others. So Caedun, you got stabbed. How are you? How are you? Holding up after the outlaw that stabbed you, went scampering off.
I think basically, I think we had kind of run at each other and like struggled on the ground.
You dropped out of a tree and then got
and
like
leave.
skewered by him, right?
Yeah. So honestly, I think after he got stabbed, I think he just sort of, it looked like it would seem like Gaston and Gilly pretty much had the rest of them all handled.
Yeah, and
this
Hap
was the
was
only one that
helping
got
too.
away. Yeah, this was the only one that got away. So so basically he just he started to get up and realized there's no way he's going to catch him. Like, he's already gone off into the woods, and Caedun just sort of like slumps back down onto the ground and just like, and slowly lifts himself back up, like trying not to move the dagger too much because he doesn't know how deep it is and is worried about just yanking it out. So
yeah. Gaston, you spot that Caedun is slumped against a tree, looking the worse for wear. What do you do?
So I think Gaston saunters over and is starts to regale Caedun with how brilliant what he did was, and what everybody did, and all in this is kind of how he's going to try to offer the encouragement and those sort of things, to try to kind of lift his spirits, because he's like, you can't be down. He's, yes, he got away, but look what we did here. There were 8 of them, and we, just one of them got away. And so he's really trying to build him up and everything. I was thinking that it might be very Gaston to just yank the dagger right out and pop a like
Poultice.
Yeah, or something on there, like, good show, man, and just whip it out and slap a poultice on there as well. But
kind of like you distract him with this, celebration, and then you're like, oh, let me get that dagger out, poultice on. There you go, right as rain. It's a very Boar Chalice approach, I feel. Caedun, is that does that reach offer encouragement for you here?
I think it. I think it does. You hear this sort of like gasp as the dagger comes out, and then like a deeper, more pain gasp as he slaps on that poultice.
So let's see how that goes for you, Gaston. Make a roll plus cheer to offer encouragement to someone under a shadow.
All right, I've either killed you or I'm going to help you. One of the two. That would be 7-9 with the +2. So
okay, and of course, someone could spend a heart to push that up to a 10 if you so desire.
Oh, I guess Caedun good. I'm trying to save my 3. I can always spend 1 and then earn another heart doing something else, because I really want this to be a full hit.
I mean, would it be okay if I spent 1?
Yeah.
If you're Caedun, if you're cooperating with what Gaston is doing, and you give me a sense of how you're helping him offer you encouragement, then you can absolutely spend a heart to push up the results here.
I think what Caedun was doing is like he was nodding along with like Gaston's description of how well their side of this whole thing went, and how great the plan was, and Caedun's taking that as encouragement. and like he had sort of reached up to clap Gaston on the shoulder, and just like clapped him on the shoulder. And just at that moment is when Gaston did the yank and poultice. And Caedun says, "I didn't realize you were carrying one of those really awful smelling poultices."
Cool.
He says as he blinks tears from the stench of that poultice out of his eyes.
But at least it distracts from the pain.
Oh, it's a different kind of pain. Entirely breaks your mental connection to that original pain. There's just that searing pain in your nostrils now.
All right, so spend a heart, Caedun, and that pushes the total here up to a 10 plus, which means first Caedun is going to pick one from the offer encouragement list, and then Gaston will get to pick one from the offer encouragement list. So Caedun, what do you choose? I guess for folks' reference, these options are: my spirit is comforted and I clear a condition. We find respite in our connection and each gain one heart. My resolve is steadied and I take advantage on my next move. You're muted, Chris.
I feel like I should probably clear one of these two conditions.
That seems legit to me. What are you picking?
Let's see. I think it makes the most sense to clear dampened, because like confronted directly with a full force dose of Gaston, I think it's really hard to maintain dampened spirits.
That's fair. Gaston, definitely mark that on your healing ways move, because you get to keep track of what conditions you have helped people clear.
Excellent. And it was, you said dampened, right?
Correct.
Yes, I cleared dampened.
And Gaston, now you get to choose from the offer encouragement list something you gain from this interaction because of the 10 plus result.
I think I like we are both, let me flip back to that tab. We find respite in our connection and we each gain one heart.
All right. Yeah. So something. So give me a sense of like how this wraps up. That gives us that confirmation that these two squires are able to to find a moment of respite in the aftermath of battle here.
Yeah, I think maybe obviously Gaston on the outside is clear. It's a bit of a blowhard, and he's all of those things, and he uses that to help lift people up. But I think there's a moment, he puts the poultice on, and then I think the gentle eyes kind of there's this softer moment where he's speaking more softly to Caedun about about how he's going to be okay and all of sort of that kind of vibe. And that there's just that little, and that kind of helps build a little connection there underneath it. It's that bit of Gaston that most people don't see. So
nice, yeah, absolutely. Let's check in. Gilly, you had dispatched them, the bandits non-lethally. You were like knocking people out with your hilt and stuff. Not being a warrior so much as a brawler. I feel like. But you have the help of Hap, the peasant lad, and we'll say kind of you've been with him able to like tie them up. Yeah, exactly. We've got like what are they like round a big tree? You've got these 7 bandits. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I would not be mad if some of them have tried to groggily like scowl at us. Maybe I clonked one out again with the hilt of my sword, but whew. Well, yeah. This was got this done. Nice job. You said you normally work with cows?
Yeah, but a special cow.
Right. Does it, unless it also wields weapons? Like, Does it? It doesn't normally.
No,
put up
Doris.
this-
Doris is a sweetheart.
Oh, okay. Of course.
But I've got to make sure the wolves and foxes don't try and get her or anything.
That's you clearly do a great job. I think she just sort of claps him on the shoulder, like that's a lot of work. Clearly.
Yeah, he straightens himself up. He's happy about that.
Does who has the? I feel like the guy fell out of the house on top of Gaston, but I don't know like who caught. Did Hap catch the one guy?
Yeah, Hap caught the one guy. So like there's one definitely conscious bandit to interrogate. Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. I assume you've tied him up too, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he looks up at you. I've put him in the NPCs tab. This is the grizzled old outlaw named Brannigan. We'll say you already got his name from him because it's easiest to refer to characters when they have names. Brannigan says, "Foolish children, you have no idea what you're blundering into. You may have caught us by surprise, but the Bandit King won't be off his guard. Rourke has already gone running, and he's gonna be ready for you when you come."
I think I want to still have my sword out and kind of like have it hover under him a little bit. Be like, excellent. Always nice to have people roll out get things ready for when you arrive. What else can you tell us about this Bandit King? And we have other business. I have no desire to unhorse your entire operation, but we simply couldn't have you stopping us. So is there something that we need to know about the Bandit King and or what you guys are doing here?
Here's what you need to know, girlie. You should have killed us when you had the chance. And he's attempting to impart a lesson to you.
Ooh, okay.
So when someone tries to impart a lesson to you, you can choose to accept it, in which case you mark a notch and record the lesson on your character sheet. Or you can resist the lesson and you make a roll without a stat to see, do you stand firm or both dig in, or do their words overcome your resistance somehow? So the lesson is you should have killed us when you had the chance, right? You should have don't waste a chance to strike a lethal blow, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to accept or resist that lesson, Gilly?
Oh, Gilly's gonna resist this lesson for sure. I think she's just sort of like frowns at him and is like, "Sir Greyhair, you want me to change my mind?" And I think it's gonna roll
without a stat.
See if it
looks like a 7 to me.
It is.
So nice. Okay. On the 7 to 9, you both dig in, mark a condition, but don't record their lesson. So you stand firm, but it costs you something, right? Like, so tell me what condition you mark.
I think that this dampens me because honestly, I was out here giving these bandits the benefit of the doubt. Like, I didn't come out here to kill bandits. I spared this person's life and they're daring me to kill them. What sort of grim situation is this?
He's just telling you made a tactical error earlier by being too merciful, right?
That's not. Maybe that's. I think she kind of leans and is like, maybe that's what bandits do, but I'm trying to be a knight.
Alexi, can I ask a question about that? Like, if she had accepted the lesson, I'm just curious from a game perspective. Like,
absolutely,
obviously, that you'd get the notch, the experience point. What does that do ongoing from that perspective?
Yeah, what does it do to have that lesson written down?
Yeah,
it means that you would get to take advantage for paying heed to the lesson. And take disadvantage for defying the lesson. So, if when you take action that seems like it's specifically embodying the lesson you've received, or flying in the face of that lesson, then that changes your dice, right? Advantage is you're rolling the bonus dice. Disadvantage is you're rolling a dice that is an opposite of a bonus. In that you will take the worst 2 dice from your 3 dice.
Right. So like later, if you do spare somebody or do something that would, it almost forces you, because you've heeded that lesson, to lean into doing that thing a little bit, right?
It can force you to lean into doing it, or it can give you the chance to defy it and try to rewrite it, right? But yeah. It changes the odds of of later moves that tie directly to the lesson.
Mechanically, it kind of is like turning down XP though. So like I went with that in my gut, but like should I have just accepted it? Probably.
The game just tells you what happens when you make certain choices, but it leaves the choices up to you. So I didn't know what Gilly would do. It's totally legit to reject that lesson. At around this time, a black wolf comes padding out of the woods and kind of very calmly regards this whole scene, right, of captured bandits and squires regrouping after their battle. Hap like gets ready to fight, like he's gonna beat this thing with his quarterstaff, and then behind the wolf appears our new friend Kay with his satchel and squire attire. Kay, what do you say as you walk up from behind your wolf guide and see your fellow squires?
I kind of feel like they may have been hearing Kay natter on about wolf ecology and things, and like just kind of like almost like checking in with his new companion about what's different between it and what he knows about wolves and so forth, and about the seasons and like, so it's almost like he's just been following this wolf for a while, and probably like, is there snow on the ground, or what's the season?
Oh, interesting. I hadn't been picturing snow, but the woods are strange. There could be a little bit of snow somewhere. Yeah.
So I almost see him like kind of somewhat leaping to match the steps of the wolf. So if the wolf steps in snow or mud or something, to kind of follow in that, with him thinking, probably incorrectly, that he's helping to avoid detection by doing this sort of thing. And so he's just sort of nattering on about some things about wolves and animals, and wondering what kind of animals that this wolf eats versus wolves in other territories. And do you have to worry about bears? Are there do you talk to bears? Like what, and then he probably looks up and sees his companions, and it's just like just so happy. He's like, oh, my friends. And like kind of saying to the wolf, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. If you are ever in need of assistance in our town, I mentioned that about a mile ago, look us up. I'll be happy to find a place for you.
Are you forging a meaningful bond with an NPC?
I don't think I have enough hearts to actually do it.
No, you don't have to.
Oh, yeah, I would love to if I can.
Like, if we feel like you're forging a meaningful bond with an NPC, you can write them down under building connections.
I'm totally doing that.
Did you get his name during this, or their name?
Well, I don't want to be disrespectful, so I probably have like a drawing of like a footprint or something like that.
Nice to represent. Yeah. So yeah, just write down big black wolf. In your under building connections, as the creature kind of gives you another like purposeful nod, and then like gestures with its muzzle towards your companions.
Yeah, I will resist going up and like contacting it like a human would, but I will like politely do like the courtly bow that I was taught, and I'm gonna give it the rest of the mutton that I have.
Oh wow! Okay,
as a final thank you, and go off to my friends.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So So let me amend my narration. Caedun, Gilly, and Gaston. You see a wolf appear, and moments later you hear Kay's voice. Reciting these wolf facts, and then you see this moment of him having a respectful gesture exchange with the wolf, and then he turns towards you as the wolf fades into the shadows of the forest.
I think
What do
Gilly's
you
just
do?
standing there with like a sword to this bandit's neck, and then is like, "Kay, oh goodness, well, about time you're here. Like, how? What? I thought that you were behind us like the whole time."
Well, I was. I may have gotten distracted for a moment. There's this amazing like sunset. Oh, and I gotta tell you about the lens and moonlight and fractals and oh, you found some friends.
It's a good thing we got rid of these bandits so that you didn't get a toast and I just kind of like point at like, "Oh, Caedun, you've got it. Are you okay?"
Where's Caedun?
Caedun sort of basically like is holding that poultice on with like and also using his other hand to sort of like cover his mouth and nose. I'll be fine once I can remove the poultice.
Wow, Caedun, did you stop all these bandits by yourself?
Not even remotely.
Honestly, it was. I think Gilly's like leaning on her sword. Like, I mean, it was a group effort, but like, I did sort of help a lot. But
that's amazing.
It was basically a group effort.
Oh, so these are real bandits?
The captured conscious one kind of like laughs mirthlessly. The Bandit King is gonna cut you into pieces, kid.
To me? Or
No. Specifically about Kay.
Yeah. Wait. And I'm gonna like sit down in front of him like, so how do you elect your Bandit King? Does it divine intervention? Is it a bloodline? Is it the choice by the bandits? Like, how does this work?
You want to know how you become Bandit King?
Yeah.
Well, truthfully, it's a sort of a meritocracy. It's whoever is the best at banditry.
Like writing this stuff.
Nice.
And are there multiple like bandit kingdoms, or is there just like a generic like territory? Like, how do you describe your rule?
Yeah, you used to be every 2-bit group of outlaws had their own captain, but Black Terran, he's brought us all under his flag. With him in the lead, we've been more organized, more able to take what we need, and no one can tell us no.
So do you have bandit squires?
He spits on the ground.
I'll take that as a yes.
Do you I think Gilly like looks up at like Caedun and Gaston and is like, we didn't get much information from him, but do we trust him enough to maybe lead us to this Bandit King so we can, as he is so cheerfully put, cut us to ribbons? Do we
Caedun,
think?
Gaston, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. How many did we capture? I don't remember. Is it a handful or?
You've got like 7 bandits tied to a tree, including this one who's talking, and then a different bandit who claimed to be the right hand of the Bandit King. Stabbed Caedun and ran off. Yeah,
I think he's thinking leading 7 along might be too much, but I think maybe if we took the loudmouth here, with us, I think Gaston is yes, we should definitely, he could lead us there, and it's good that they're prepared for us because that's the sporting way of it. We wouldn't, knights wouldn't be, it wouldn't be a sporting contest if we were sneaking up on them. So yeah, I think Gilly has I think we could take one of them. I think all 7 of them might be kind of hard for us to, manage, but
Yeah, they'll be able to deal with this when they wake up or whatever.
Sort of the Spider-Man theory. You leave people tied up, and you figure they'll sort it out when they come to.
Absolutely.
I mean, to be fair, Spider-Man's webbing does evaporate after a couple of hours. So, sure, those guys are hanging 30 stories up when that happens, but it's fine. It's fine.
I assume the bandits aren't hanging from the trees, but merely arranged around the trunk of a big tree and tied up. Yeah.
Again, I just cannot overemphasize the Robin Hood vibes of it all. Like that is yeah, I think she's like, I don't think if you became a bandit, you probably dealt with worse. So I don't know if I want to. Can I beseech a boon from this bandit to take us there?
Oh, interesting. Beseech a boon from Brannigan, the grizzled outlaw.
Yeah.
What are you offering?
Do I have to offer something to him?
No, but the move says when you
Oh,
beseech a boon from someone willing to listen, and I think he's willing to listen in that you've captured him.
Right.
Say what you offer in return, whether it be simple gratitude or something more, and roll plus courtesy.
I think she takes the sword up and is like, so, if you want to see the Bandit King so bad, we will untie you and take you with us. If you will show us the way to this Bandit King so we can meet him in person. But you won't be stuck here with your unconscious comrades.
He kind of looks like he's chewing over this idea. Make a roll plus courtesy for me.
Okay.
That's a 10, isn't it?
Finally, my internet is not being great, so before I do.
Hey. I think
yes,
you rolled a 10, and does that? Were you including your bonus? Yeah. Okay. So 8 on the dice plus 2. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So we just see him say, "Well, beats being tied to this tree, and maybe it means I'll get to see how the Bandit King leaves you a pile of ribbons for the crows to feast on."
Ribbons, bits, whatever. Come on. She's like,
all right. So are we all on board with this plan that what you're doing is being led by this surly outlaw towards the Bandit King who's been warned of your approach? Cool.
I'm pretty sure that's our only path to getting to the Bandit King, because it's not like we're probably going to be able to find his hideout on our own, wandering through the magical forest.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So let's take our first break here. Take 10. We'll be back at 20 past the hour, and we'll pick up with these squires en route and see what comes of this plan. So go ahead and take that break. We'll see you in 10 minutes time. All right. Everybody ready to be back? Nice. So our group of squires are now reunited. We've got 4 squires, Hap the peasant, and Brannigan the old outlaw leading the way. And as he leads you deeper and into darker stretches of the forest, I'd love to do a little travel montage. So I'd like a detail from each of you about how your character is, taking in the darkening landscape and preparing themselves for what seems to be the battle to come. Let me check with Caedun first. Caedun, what would we see of Caedun following along and bracing himself for what's to come?
I think we see Caedun sort of walking like he's walking into a particularly persistent headwind, like his head is down, still kind of covering his nose a little bit as he holds the poultice on there until he starts to feel that he starts to feel the burning sort of subside, and then he'll at least be able to remove the poultice and hopefully like try to breathe through his nose a little bit again. But he was just basically he looks like he's walking into a headwind, like he knows this isn't a great idea, but this is probably the only way we would be able to find this hideout anyway. One of them was going to have to take us there, and the guy he let get away obviously has already told them that we're coming, so there's no surprise. So we're going to have to confront this problem head on, and he is not happy about it. He is happy about how well the poultice worked, because it does let him just sort of like pull his surcoat over a little bit to sort of hide the bloody knife hole, and hopefully not make it look like he's not all that hurt.
Nice. The path does twist and turn, sometimes going through places that seem impassable until Brannigan pushes through what turns out to be just a kind of screen of branches, and there's also of course these fallen statues and other evidence of ancient civilization that still dot the landscape. Let me see, Gaston. How do we see you kind of participating in this dark march and preparing for what's to come?
Is Hap still with us too?
Oh yeah, of course. He's got to be with you. I mean, if you want to convince him not to come, you'd have to try to do that, because he thinks he's part of this group, and until Doris the cow is reclaimed, your quests are the same.
So I think we'll see Gaston being very cheery, walking with his arm around Hap, regaling him with tales of parties and just the whatnot, and just generally being outwardly at least very nonchalant about it all.
Yeah, absolutely. At some point, Hap says to you, kind of like jerking his head towards Kay, this new guy, he's gonna be a knight like you.
And I think he looks. He goes. Don't underestimate him. It's all right here.
Oh. I see. A knight of the mind.
The pen is mightier than the sword, my friend.
But you have a big sword, and you aren't carrying around a bunch of pens or anything.
But sometimes the sword is mightier than the pen.
Oh, Hap is Hap is clearly trying to sort out exactly what lesson is being imparted to him here. But
not much of one. Gaston's not very ingenious, so he does kind of like the sound of his own voice, I think. So,
Gilly, what do we see of you, as the journey, twists and turns through the forest, and the camp of the Bandit King must be coming up.
Yeah, I think that if Gaston is very cheery and just like, I think she's sort of grimly marching behind like Brannigan and probably still has her sword out, like, guarding the way just in case he's like decides to run away and leave us in the dust.
Yeah.
I think, just to her two conditions might be a little more visible now. So I think she's still heading, but she's like, okay.
Yeah. She's dampened and spent, isn't she?
Dampened and spent. But yeah, I assume that like if Kay is nearby, like I don't want to put your character wherever, but I wonder if like she would be listening to him talking probably too at the same time.
That's perfect. Kay, tell us a little about how you're taking in the journey and preparing yourself for what seems to be a confrontation in the offing.
Well, since the group of squires, what is the formal name for a group of squires? I don't know.
That's the term of venery for squires. I don't a questing fellowship.
A questing fellowship has identified that we don't know the way to the Bandit King, so he's making a very loose map along the way.
Oh,
and
fantastic!
Yeah, and he's also incorporating elements of the scenery, landmarks, the bandits, the company, into a very rough ballad. He's not a song person per se, but it's helping him to memorize and to note details.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a mnemonic thing than an actual like performance thing. But he can't help but do it out loud. So it's kind of like now and then you catch little bits of it, and he'll like stop and say, "No, that didn't sound right," and like revise it. So yeah, total stealth mode is on.
Oh boy, love this. So you, Gilly, were the one keeping closest track of your guide, Brannigan. Then Gilly, I would love for you to forge a path, because you are trying to make sure he doesn't pull any fast ones here, and I think that is a bit of a difficulty. So forge a path to see if that is a successful,
Nice.
if your vigilance is successful.
Nice. Okay. Maybe somebody with more perseverance. Woo! That's a 5. Fine.
Well, when you roll a miss, you actually get to mark your foreboding track. So kind of I think part of this is like you often try to ignore your prophetic gift, right?
Yeah.
So like maybe there's been like something like just kind of like tickling at the back of your mind that you've been just you were like, no, I have to focus on what's going on. I can't deal with any sort of prophetic insight right now. But then that moment comes, and you feel. Yeah, we're gonna go with this one. You feel the like forest floor, beneath your feet suddenly give way, and you and Kay, you were right near Gilly, right? You and Kay tumble into a pit trap. Like a thin mat had been laid over this pit and covered with leaves, and as as there's this crunching sound, and two of your companions fall. Caedun, you see like Brannigan just like take off running. What do you do?
I obviously have not learned my lesson. I'm going to try and tackle him.
Jumping over the pit trap, or like trying to navigate around the pit trap to catch up to him.
Basically, trying to like leap over and hopefully head him off. Like,
ooh, okay, yeah, nice. Well, speaking of lessons, well, interestingly, you have a lesson: leaders carry others and keep their pain to themselves, which in some ways you've been leading into by like trying to hide your
Yes.
injury. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that doing this will sort of offset my earlier what he sees as his earlier incompetence.
Okay, so it's hoping for some sort of a redemption. Yeah, you know what? I will give you advantage on this because of your leaders carry other lesson. And I feel like this is probably also Forge a Path.
Okay, so are we? Is Forge a Path? That's normally with perseverance, right?
Correct. Yes.
Oh well, that's good for me. I actually have a fairly decent shot at that, I think. Okay, so 3 dice. And perseverance of 2. Wow. Okay. That's an 11 on the dice. 13. So.
Okay. So yeah. So give me a sense of like just like how much Caedun like pushes himself to like just like bowl over this guy, right? Like Brannigan thought he was very clever leading two of you into a pit trap and then like trying to run, but like you're completely catching him off guard here. So what does that look like?
I think what surprised him was literally like Caedun sprang across the pit trap.
Nice.
And bodily tackled him. Like it's a full tackle. Both of them go rolling in the on the ground through the leaf clutter and all that. And Caedun manages to pin him long enough, hopefully for the others to catch up.
And yeah, absolutely. He like as you hit him, he starts to yell, "They're here! The squires, they're here!" And I assume you like clamp your hand over his mouth, like pretty soon. But like he gets out one of these yells. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Kay, you're down in the pit.
There's a definite groan from the pit.
Kay and Gilly, like, what are you doing? Just give me a sense of that downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing
stairs, down in the pit.
Yeah. I think the first thing that case is that mother said there'd be days like this.
I know. Gilly is just like landed like flat on her back, and like her sword is like stuck in the side of the pit.
And like the map is on Kay's face, and he's just trying to like get up because he's not sure if it was like a mudslide. Like he doesn't know. He was completely caught unawares. So he's just probably like scrambling around and then seeing who's around with him in the pit.
Yeah, I think she's like, well, did your mother? Your mother always did carry a lot of stuff on her, didn't she? She let me borrow her rope once. I don't have any rope on me right now, though.
Well, we do have this false floor net thing we can probably scramble up.
Oh, is that still? I think she's just gonna like yank on it to see if it's holding, to see if it doesn't come down.
Wait, there aren't like spikes and stuff at the bottom of this pit, are there?
No, it's clearly meant to be a capture trap, sure. Not a kill trap.
Cool. So yeah,
it is deep, right? Like they dug it deep, so you're like maybe you can reach up and touch what's left of the thing that you fell through, but like just barely grazing it with your finger.
Wait! I heard a story about a hero, and maybe Caedun knows this. Like, and he pulls out his dagger and pulls out his beautifully like never used sword. It's still oiled and fresh, no scars on it. And he's gonna stick it in the side of the earth and try to use it to pull himself up. Like
just like climbing Patan style.
I think Gilly's just like a little slack-jawed, but she's like, and like is ready to go and like put a shoulder under him. Like this is the first time she's seen Kay like do much physical activity. Like I feel like she normally sees you. Like it took a while for her to realize you were even like a squire and you weren't just like an assistant of some kind.
Yeah, you probably thought it was like a bard or a scribe hanging around you.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, this is great.
And I feel like he's not really making much headway until you get underneath him.
Yeah, it's like okay,
because he's not very strong.
Yeah, she's like, hold it by the hilt. Don't grab the blade. It's really sharp.
This is great. I think I'm going to cut away from that for a moment and cut back. We'll probably do some kind of roll to see if this all goes well. But I like the cut of your jib here. This approach. Gaston, since you were hanging out with Hap, right? Like as all this is starting to go down, Hap like immediately reacts. He's like, treachery. That bandit double crossed us. Let me at him, right? And like is like running also after Brannigan, but like less adroitly than Caedun. So he's kind of slower to reach him. You, Gaston, spot the tripwire. That Hap is running right towards without seeming to notice it. What do you do?
So would I have a chance to try to like kind of grab him to stop him before he goes, or is he already too far down the way there?
He's charging off, but I'm up to see if you can act fast to grab him. Sure.
Yeah. So I think he'll say he'll wait and try to grab him to prevent him from tripping the tripwire.
Nice. I'm just going to go straight to undergo an ordeal for this. So when you undergo an ordeal, choose one. Grit your teeth and press on. You hold your ground but mark a condition. Stumble, hesitate, or flinch, give the opposition an opportunity, mark a notch. So you can absolutely stop Hap from tripping this tripwire by marking a condition, or maybe you're just a little too slow and he hits it, but you get to mark a notch. What do you choose?
I kind of want to see what happens, but I kind of don't want to see what happens. So
up to you.
I'm gonna grit my teeth and mark a condition.
Nice. Yeah. So how do you kind of like push yourself here such that you keep Hap safe but take a condition yourself?
Conditions. Let's see. I think maybe, I don't know. I'm struggling a little bit with the fiction of combining that with the condition a little bit. So maybe
maybe Hap has to get it.
Well, maybe I grab and stop Hap, but I fall into the pit too. But I fall into the pit in doing it.
Yes.
Nice. That's amazing. So like you're like charging forward, like you push him back so he doesn't hit the tripwire, and like you overbalance into the pit.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. So like Gilly and Kay are just like getting set up to do their like climbing thing, and then like Gaston comes like hurtling down. Uh, 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 we'll see how that unfolds in a moment. Gaston, choose the condition from falling into the pit. It sounds like, or
I think I'm
is
gonna choose,
yeah what.
I think I'm going to choose dampened. So I think it's going to have dampened his indomitable spirits a little bit for maybe. I was trying to. It was either that or befuddled, like he's confused that this even happened to him or something. I don't know.
Either sounds good to me, so I leave it.
I think I'll
leave it
take
up to you.
befuddled. I think I will take befuddled.
Caedun, this means you alone of the squires are not in the pit. You are kind of like crouched, over Brannigan, clamping a hand over his mouth, and you hear rustling sounds of people moving nearby, and like the hushed voices saying, "That was Brannigan, right? I heard his voice over this way. It's got to be those squires that Rourke was warning us about. Get your bow at the ready." Right. So like, clearly like multiple bandits not far from here, who heard Brannigan. They haven't spotted you, but they're searching. What do you do, Caedun?
I think that that's actually going to be one thing. He's going to basically roll over and take Brannigan down with him into the pit, hand still clamped over the mouth, sort of sliding down to keep him quiet.
Nice.
He says, "Quick, throw some dirt and stuff on top of us. We're all going down in the bottom of the pit. Make it look like nothing's down here. Fast now, they're coming."
You're telling
Yes.
you're telling your fellow squires to do this. Okay.
Kay is all over that.
I think we
Nice.
just like stood up from getting bowled over from Gaston.
Gaston.
When, like,
And we're like making headway, and then suddenly Caden's like, "Come on, let's stay in the pit."
yeah, somebody's driving us down. Didn't know it was gonna be such a party down here.
Yeah, it is. The pit is not designed to have 5 people in it, so like it has gotten cramped. Absolutely. Boy, yeah. You know what? That's a good plan. I think that would play out. The 5 of you with Brannigan, kind of unwillingly muzzled. Hide yourself in this pit, and so you hear outlaws up above saying like, "I don't see anybody. Wait, there's somebody. Stand your ground!" Right, and then Hap says, "Outlaws, I defy you for Doris!" There's like brief sound like a thud, poof. And then you hear like someone being dragged away. So you are safely hidden, but Hap has been captured by the outlaws.
Crap, I thought Hap had fallen down into the pit already.
No.
He was the only one that didn't.
He was the only one that didn't
Checklist.
fall
Next
into
time,
the
make
pit.
sure others fall in pit with us.
Yeah, if I hear Caden voice disappointment, I think she's like, "Yeah, any more bright ideas?" Like,
We didn't get captured. Just give me.
it's true, but we wanted to be, right? How are we gonna get the thing? And then can she actually like elbow Brannigan and be like, "Tell us where the thing, what is it we're looking for? The tiara?
Yeah.
If you're not gonna take us to the Bandit King, have you seen this tiara thing? That's all we need."
I assume you're doing
let
this.
him talk. I don't think we should let him talk until they're safely far enough away.
Yeah, I was about to say, I assume you're not doing this until you've heard the other outlaw voices
Yeah.
recede into the distance. Okay, cool. So yeah, if you let him speak, he'll be like, "Blah, blah, okay, blah. Man, you're so annoying, squires. I thought I had you with this pit trap, and now you've turned it into your little hidey hole."
Yeah. We're real annoying. It's one of our strengths.
Is that what it is?
The godforsaken tiara, that's what you're looking for?
Yeah. Right? You're gonna look at everyone else.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we came in this direction to find. So
The Bandit King's little pet hedge witch is working on it. He thinks it's got all sorts of magical secrets to unlock. She's poking and prodding at it, doing her mumbo jumbo. I don't know how it all works, but if you find her, that's where the tiara is. Blech.
okay, that sounds simple enough. Where's this witch?
The witch is in the witch's hut, obviously.
Yeah, that's not as helpful as you seem to think it is.
You can't miss it. It's a little hut, got bones sticking out of it and stuff. It's up, near the center of the encampment.
So still in the encampment. All right.
So where's this encampment?
It's where your stupid friend just got dragged to.
Like south, north,
East.
east?
To the east.
Well, since they're dragging him, it should be pretty easy to follow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think it's
All
time
right,
for
who
us to
gets
get
out of this pit first?
Yes. How are you going to get? Well, I guess there's enough of you now. You could do like a human pyramid.
Form of.
I think Gilly's just like, make sure, is there anything else that could possibly fall into this pit before I get on the bottom of this chain?
I think Gaston will, before we all scramble up out of there, let them know that there's a tripwire up there as well. So
that's a super smart idea.
Okay, great. Hey, at least we know. Knowing where bad things are, that's very super helpful. Yeah. So I guess would Kay go first, scramble up on top?
Yeah, what do you think?
I assume
I guess for me the big, so I can buy that, the four of you can put your wits together and make it out of the pit, through some combination of the sword baton idea, which I loved, and just the stacking squires on top of each other. My question is,
one of us has to have some sort of rope or something somewhere. I mean,
so you can kind of toss some rope down. Yeah. I buy it. Sure. We get some rope at some point. Here's the question: are you bringing Brannigan with you, or leaving him in the pit?
I mean, he hasn't been all that helpful.
we should totally leave him in the pit.
He has provided us with some limited useful information, and from what I gather, as far as bandits go, he's A+ bandit for us.
Look,
Gilly's like, you hear that? He likes you. You're a good bandit. That's why we have to leave you.
That's why we're leaving you in the pit alive.
We could promise to come back and help him out when we're done.
Yeah.
Isn't that what knights would do?
Sure. You'll come back and help me out of this pit. Sure you will.
I promise to do that.
I'll believe it when I see it, kid.
Well, we do have to survive the bandit camp first, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, I suppose.
If we survive our encounter with the Bandit King and the bandits and get the tiara and don't die of exposure or any other maladies, I will promise to come back and pull you out of this pit.
And I will come back because I just want to see the look on your face when we do it. Honestly, it's going to be excellent. Okay, let's follow the drag marks.
Yeah, so
And
you leave.
He's walking.
You leave
he's like shaking his shoulder again now because he's had to roll into a pit with his wounded shoulder.
I'm going to throw down my water skin to Brannigan.
just the nicest possible squire. Do you think you are offering encouragement to someone under a shadow as you toss down your water skin?
He's definitely under a shadow. At least the pit counts.
Our
as a shadow,
shadows,
right?
4 shadows, in fact, actually.
Okay, sure.
If you so I'm just because I think you might even get advantage on this because it feels like you're leaning into your lesson. Try as hard as you can to understand someone's point of view before judging them, since you've been like trying to like understand the bandit's perspective this whole time.
Because if they actually are suffering from the system, then maybe the system needs to change.
Maybe. Please go ahead and roll 3d6, and you'll take the best 2. And I believe I believe your cheer is a 0, so it's a flat roll with advantage.
All right, 3d6. Let's do this. So, 3d6. Okay, I got a 10. That would be the 9.
That would be a 9. Yeah, you take the 3 and the 6 for it.
Yep.
Cool. So, the result is going to be Brannigan picking one of these bonuses where either his spirit is comforted, he's finding respite, his resolve is steadied, unless someone spends a heart to push it up to a 10+, in which case our friend Kay will get to pick one of these bonuses as well. Just flagging that. Anyone excited for this, or?
I can spend a heart, can I?
You cannot. This is lend aid, where you spend heart to help someone else. Yeah. You kind of, I guess your thing is you can spend bonds with people, like you have that bond with the wolf. So if in some way the wolf's example we're helping you, you could spend a wolf bond with the wolf to give yourself a bonus. But by default, what people do is they spend heart to help other folks +1 after you roll.
I can spend a heart to help Kay.
You do not have to.
I know. That's I think it would be good for that. There are some nice bonuses there for Kay as well. But I think that seeing like just how kind he's being, Gilly will just roll her eyes and be like, "Yeah, we'll come back." We'll definitely, if we have to. I will exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so Brannigan's spirit is comforted, and he clears a condition. So he just like he takes the water skin and kind of gives it a bit of a nod and says, "Well, we'll see. I suppose we'll see." But he does drink from it, so it's he's less kind of like totally grouchy than he was a moment ago. What do you pick, Kay, from the benefits of offer encouragement?
Is this from Brannigan or from the situation, or?
Yeah, I mean, you. This is kind of just like the spillover bonus of offering the encouragement. You can sometimes end up encouraging yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like I think what Kay would be thinking, based on our experiences so far, is that we haven't done a lot of murdering, right? I have not seen a lot of murdered people, and I think that gives us hope that we could negotiate, or at least resolve it with non-lethal violence, the outcome of the bandits.
And what mechanical benefit are you taking from that?
What are my options?
This is under the offer encouragement basic move. Your options are: my spirit is comforted and I clear a condition. We find respite in our connection and each gain 1 heart. Or my resolve is steadied and I take advantage on my next move.
I feel like the resolve, take advantage of my next move, is the most sense.
Nice. Keep track of that.
Yeah.
remember that when you make your next
Yeah.
move, that you have that advantage going forward.
Awesome.
And so as you guessed, Caedun, the track is easy to follow because there's just this like hap shaped mark in the dirt where he's been dragged away by the bandits. So do you set off after them?
That's the plan. We will try to go as quickly as we can. Hopefully, since they're literally dragging poor Hap along, they're not paying as much attention to trying to be sneaky or stealthy or anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so kind of not too far through the forest, you kind of spot where the bandit camp must start. There's kind of scattered kind of tents at the outskirts, and then more kind of more like kind of densely dense group of kind of temporary structures. More inwards, right? Like not only tents, but like things that people have kind of built out of little like huts constructed from roughly hewn wood, and it all sort of you glimpse at the center of it what has to be the throne of the Bandit King. And this is a throne kind of built from detritus, different bits of broken things pulled together into this impressive throne. Tell me, Gaston, what's one of the like broken trophies that make up the throne of the Bandit King?
Maybe there's some like dented, beat up helms or something in there that he's using as like armrests or something like that.
Oh, nice! Like taken from knights.
Yeah,
absolutely. Bits of armor, taken from those he's conquered. And Gilly, give me another detail that jumps out at you, something you observe making up the Bandit King's throne. I see your question in the chat. No, you don't see the Bandit King himself yet. You're kind of like observing this like big structure that's clearly his seat of power, but he's not sitting on it right at the moment.
Okay, I think we definitely see like familiar colors of like some flags or like heraldry that have been sort of ripped and woven in through the back of the throne. So like any colorful parts are like they're probably recognizable to us because we've probably seen these crests flapping in the wind at different times.
Yeah.
Or a few. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Kay, what intriguing decoration do you spot on what has to be the hedge witch's hut? Not far from the Bandit King's throne.
I'm going to say that there is all the way like skirted around, at least as much as we can see, are these little crystals. There's like a circlet of crystals around the perimeter of the hut.
Nice. That's excellent. And Caedun, what like piece of broken statuary from the like old ruins that you've been observing in the woods, what piece of broken statuary has been incorporated into the like center of the bandit encampment?
Oh, I feel like it's got to be this guy's kind of really pushing this sort of decadent king thing. I think he got some of the guys to haul over one of those sort of kneeling statues. So like it looks, it's looks like some noble or something kneeling, and he's placed it strategically like in front of the throne so that
Is
he
it a
can put his feet up
footrest?
on it. Yes, it is
Yeah.
definitely a footrest.
Oh, that's great. Oh man. All right. Yeah, and so the the four of you are now like kind of like peering in from the outskirts of the bandit camp, and you do spot this like party of four bandit guards dragging your friend Hap, and they like drag him over to like toss him right next to this footrest, right? Like so he's like slumped near the foot of the bandit king's throne, and like one of them like blows a horn, and all round people start coming out of tents. The bandits are like congregating to see the prize that has been captured. And obviously there's some like grand tent nearby, and like the flap opens up, and stalking over is the tall striking figure of Black Terran, the Bandit King, looking out from under his green hood at the person that's been captured by his bandit outriders. And maybe with that view of the Bandit King, we will take our second break and be back in 10 minutes at about 10 past the hour for our last segment of this evening session. Cool. I have my bourbon brownie ice cream here, which is quite good.
I thought it was hot cocoa, but that's even better.
How's everybody doing? Ready to charge in to our last segment of this session. So, we've gotten a good view of the bandit camp. We've seen the Bandit King himself, emerge to survey the fact that your friend Hap has been captured by bandit sentries. I have to ask what our squires are going to do. Let me check. Let me check with Kay first. Our newcomer. Kay, what do you do as this is unfolding?
So, what have the others shared during our travels about Hap? Like, why is he special to us?
Great question. What's the deal with Hap, according to our?
I mean, I know
company?
that he's pining for a cow.
Yes,
Doris.
That's
is he
very
squire
correct.
material or what?
Gaston, what do you think? You've interacted with Hap.
Well, I think so. Yes, Doris is a very special cow, and it's been rather inspirational so far in our journey. I believe Gaston believes that while Hap is good people and whatnot, he's probably not squire material.
He kind of invited himself along, really, to be honest.
Well, you needed him to guide you to where the bandit ambush was going to be.
Right. That is true.
Yeah,
we were supposed to escort him, and then it sort of reverse Uno'd.
Yeah, I think Gaston, while he enjoys rubbing shoulders and dare I say slumming it a bit every once in a while, he's still of noble blood, right? He's still of a good house and whatnot. So probably, although he likes Hap, definitely not a squire material, but wouldn't leave him out to dry here for sure.
Yeah, Kay, why do you ask? What's your Caedun looked like you were going to chime in on the Hap question. All good? Okay, yeah. Kay, what are you thinking?
Well, Kay is watching Caedun do his thing. And so Kay is trying to take, notes from that. Does it look like, what does Caedun look like he is doing? Is he thinking? Is he getting his sword ready? Like, what do we see?
Well, it looks like right now Caedun is scanning this place. Really, what he's first off, he sees who appears to definitely be the Bandit King. I guess stalking towards the big chair. Where is this witch's hut? Brannigan said it would be fairly obvious because of all the witch stuff, skulls and
it's got
etc.
We established it has a circlet of crystals all around the side of it. It is not too far from the Bandit King's throne, definitely in that central area of the camp.
What time of day is it?
I was picturing this being, pretty dark nighttime. I feel like we've kind of established, kind of nighttime ambiance going on here. Does that ring true for folks?
Oh, okay. Is there like a fire nearby where they are then, or?
Yeah, they've got a nice big, bandit campfire.
Okay,
as one does.
I think Caedun is sort of looking around. He points out the witch's hut.
Yeah, I assume we all look to Caedun like, whoop.
That's certainly helpful. Given his track record, though, you're looking at 50-50 shots here. I don't know if this is is really the best plan.
So, like, is Caedun like hinting that someone should go over to the hut, or just that we should know where it is?
Well,
I mean, he may be about to share a plan here. Is that right?
Yes, that's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see how this works out. And he's going to give a rousing speech.
Oh,
a rallying speech.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear it.
Okay. This is probably not the battle that we would have wanted to pick as our first battle here with this many people. But we have things we need to accomplish here. We have a comrade to rescue. He points towards Hap slumped on the ground near the throne. We have a stolen item to return. And he looks at Kay. We have a bandit to rescue from a pit. We have several things we need to do here. It seems to me that all of the attention in this camp, at least for the immediate future, is going to be focused on that fire and the Bandit King's throne and our friend Hap. Perhaps we should split up and someone go after the tiara diadem from the witch's hut, and the others will essay to attempt to rescue Hap and draw attention away as we flee. I don't think we can take on this many, but we definitely need to draw some attention. Perhaps we can throw them off balance with some clever maneuvers. And he looks over specifically at Gaston and Gillian, because their clever maneuver actually took out like 7 or 8 bandits in one fell swoop last time. And he raises an eyebrow. This is not simply a plan of mine. This is a battle plan for all of us. And he says, what do you have to suggest? And he's basically going to sort of talk up folks' ideas and hopefully bring us all together to a single plan of action once we do that.
Yeah. Would you say you're giving an inspiring speech to your allies before taking on a dangerous task?
That's what he's trying to do.
Please go ahead and...
He's not great at inspiring, but he's trying.
I say go for it. Mark the first box of your responsibility track. And let's Gaston, do you have anything to add as Caedun kind of turns to you?
I have a clarifying question before I so Gaston's temperament move, it specifically talks about engaging in a friendly contest. But I guess I was kind of thinking, and I'm okay, because it does seem like this is pushing the bounds of that move, but I didn't know if there was an opportunity for him to go in and kind of be that distraction and essentially call out the Bandit King in some sort of feat or contest, maybe like wrestling or like a wrestling match or something.
That's
to do that. So that's where my head was, but I don't know if that doesn't. I don't know if that qualifies as friendly contest. So
if you position yourself for that, I am up for that move to trigger, because I'd be very excited to see what happened.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think Gilly just whispers, "Well, we all know how great I am at stealth, so I think Caedun, you probably have the tiara covered, and Kay probably knows a lot about witches, right? This is in the book somewhere.
Yeah.
You definitely read things about witches.
I'm sure they're all true.
Yep.
Definitely. And so I think Gilly just looks at Gaston and is like, sounds like you got a plan? Are we going in as us? Or do we need to
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I think we would go in together because you always have, like any sort of contest like that, you always have a second, right? You know, you have your person to kind of watch out for any shenanigans and whatnot, foul play or whatnot. So I would imagine that Gilly would have his back in that scenario.
Yeah. I are like as Gaston getting up to like hail the Bandit King, or like are we just
No.
waving Caedun like get out?
Yeah, I think it feels like we kind of have a little bit of a plan, right?
There's like a huddle, and then maybe we like cut away to like near the Bandit King starting to like drag Hap to like his Bandit King's having his like followers drag Hap up to his feet, and kind of like slaps him awake and says, "We've got some questions for you about your little friends," right? But then perhaps this moment gets interrupted. Are we on the same page here? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What
So
happens?
I guess we're imagining that Kay and Caedun are kind of like stealthing around, like around the outskirts, and then we'll march right in, to get all the attention focused on us to give them a chance to kind of get to the witch's hut. Is that kind of that's kind of what it sounded like we were thinking?
Yeah. I think that sounds good to me, and we'll
I'd like
check
to
in with
add-
Caedun and Kay.
Yeah, could I add something to that?
Please, yeah.
This is totally me going on my character sheet and part of obscure piece of knowledge. So we were in company with Brannigan for a bit. Maybe there's something that he shared with us about the Bandit King that would help you draw him out. Like maybe there's a phrase or some sort of way to like work off of his ego.
He did. He said that it was a meritocracy, right? That
Yeah,
like the Bandit
exactly.
King became Bandit King by proving he was the best.
Right.
So like if you like challenge that maybe he's not really the best bandit, right? Like maybe he's resting on his laurels. That would be
maybe there's like a false claim that Brannigan knows about that was shared.
Or maybe this just happens every once in a while where somebody's like,
somebody turns up and challenges the Bandit King, and he has to prove that he's still the best. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm down with that, and that for me qualifies as in part an obscure bit of knowledge. Absolutely. So okay. I feel like we've set it up. So we like get the perspective of the bandits, right, who are all gathered around as like Hap is groggily coming to, looking around, and the Bandit King is like, "You were traveling with some young squires that have been causing problems for my men. Tell me, who are they? What do they want? I need answers, young man, and perhaps we can send you on your way with all your limbs if you provide them speedily." Right. So like that's kind of the vibe here is people are ready for a little interrogation. But then it sounds like something interrupts. Gaston, what happens?
Yeah, I think they're kind of slapping him around a little bit and stuff, and then Gilly and Gaston step out, and he's like, "Hold! That's not very kingly. Perhaps you'd like to pick on someone your own size."
Nice. Bit like people like turn and like are getting their weapons out, and the Bandit King like holds up a hand, and everyone pauses, right? Like they don't like immediately attack or anything. Then King says,
and I think we just stride right up like no one else is there, right? We're just kind of like just
two squires marching in. There's a score of outlaws all around you, probably more still in their tents if someone sounds the alarm. Yeah. Bandit King says, "And you must be the squires I've heard so much about. And he like turns to one of his lieutenants who's nearby, who is in the character keeper as Rourke, and Rourke says like, "Yep, that's them. Not the one I stabbed though. Is he dead in a ditch somewhere?"
Yeah. So I think he'll if only it would take much more than that to deter our bravery. I wonder, does he go straight just to a challenge? Do you think?
I think like tell me what the challenge is, and we'll see if there needs to be other roles or anything here. But like the Bandit King basically feels relatively secure because he's surrounded by his men. So he's like entertaining whatever it is you think you're doing here, and so I'm excited. Yeah.
So I'm wondering. I'm trying to think of the leverage that would get him off of his sort of kind of knock him off his pedestal. And maybe it's calling him out relative to you lost many men and left them to die at our hands.
Nice, because they don't know you didn't.
You call yourself a king, you call yourself a protector, a leader of men, and yet you left many of your men to their devices and to the woods, and calls him out about that.
Yeah. The other there's like kind of like muttering from the other bandits, and they look to Black Terran, the Bandit King. His eyes narrow. He says, "That device on your shield. You're the spawn of the Chevalier family, aren't you?"
Indeed.
Once I marched behind your father's flag in battle, long before I was a bandit or a bandit king. He would know a thing or two about abandoning his men to their fate.
I think he'll just be like, "Ha! What would you know? Your treachery is well known to all, and your nobility is lost to you."
Maybe I think is Gilly like kind of nudging him, and she's like, maybe he can. The only way he can prove that is, obviously in a trial by combat, right? Yes.
Yeah. What kind of a contest are you gearing up for here, Gaston? A friendly contest.
Well,
you are doing the boasting part of it,
because that's the question. Like, is it just like you're like trying to like draw him out to like go like boast for boast here, or an insult contest?
A roast.
A roast. A dance off or something like that, battle. Right?
Well, maybe. Okay, you said that your nobility is lost to you, so maybe you're proving like, yes, you make your living by fighting now, but like any true noble would know how to like
right.
Eat or drink or be merry or something like that.
Yeah, I think clearly you were once a noble man, a man of principle. Prove it again through a contest, a fair and just contest, and
what contest do you propose, young pup?
It says eating, drinking, boasting, dancing. How about some sort of like I'm looking for something maybe non-lethal, right? That's I want to, but that's not the combat to death doesn't feel like the spirit of what we're doing here.
No, and he might not even agree to that, right? Like it's
right.
But there's an etc. there, right? Like
So I was thinking some sort of like wrestling, like just mano a mano, some sort of like some sort of like Greco-Roman sort of wrestling sort of match to prove prove your worth.
So like there's got to be a moment of you like significantly like taking off your like sword and like your like armor. Like when I'm looking at your character portrait where you've got kind of like a some like shoulder armor going on, right? removing your kind of like major pieces of weaponry and protection.
Gilly is getting covered by armor. It's like not prepared for clothes to come off at this point. So she's just like, what?
The Bandit King says, you would seek to grapple with me, heir of the Chevaliers. Very well. I have proved myself before, and I will prove myself once again. He pulls like a dagger from his belt, hands it to his second, then pulls like the 2 daggers from his boots and hands them to another person, right? It takes longer than you initially expected for all of the daggers to be handed out amongst the bandits, but at a certain point it seems, and then he shrugs off his cape, right? And he's a tall, imposing guy. You're no slouch, Gaston, but he does seem like a formidable opponent. Basically we get him pacing in a circle, either around you or matching you, depending on if you're mirroring the pacing, right? And you're like silhouetted by this big roaring, camp bonfire in the bandit camp, as he says, "Prepare yourself, youngster." Yeah, are you going to go toe to toe in a friendly contest of wrestling with the Bandit King?
Yeah, let's get it on.
Let's do it. All right. When you engage in a friendly contest, roll plus cheer.
Yeah.
And you are not. This is not quite one of your lessons, because you aren't really eating, drinking. It's a contest, but it's not eating or drinking or being merry. Yeah, it's kind of a serious cast. So, so just rolling plus cheer here, I think.
Okay, fingers crossed. I'm not sure what this will do to Gaston's temperament if he doesn't do well here. So 9.
Okay. On a 7 to 9, your opponent removes one option, then you choose one. So I'm going to say that he would remove the "you win the contest ambiguously" option.
All right, so then I choose one.
You choose one.
I am going to choose that I elicit a gesture of friendship from the opponent, even if they were dead set against you.
Amazing. So it's not going to be a clear victory. It might be more of a stalemate, sort of thing, right? But you are actually going to gain some sort of respect from the Bandit King. I'm going to cut away to our Gilly's whispering. He's much taller than his wanted poster. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little circuit with the other squires, and then come back to see a little bit of the resolution of this wrestling. Gilly, you seem to be just taking all this in. Do you want to add anything more about your reaction to this indeed distracting moment playing out at the center of the Bandit King's camp?
Yeah, I think that she's got a bunch of the armor, and she's just like, okay, this is not what, and is just has seen the Bandit King's wanted poster around, and I think I want to do something, but I'll wait till the resolution, because I think the attention has not been on her, so I don't think she and the Bandit King have necessarily locked eyes yet. But I'm
I see
that happens, if you get my drift.
I see. You've got an ability for this. Nice.
Yes.
So can I ask a follow-up question to all this?
Yeah.
I have a heart move that is cleansing a place or person from a curse, poison, or malign influence.
That is a move you have.
I don't necessarily know how, some of those would be obvious, right? Person X is cursed or person, right? But Is there any sort of like malign influence over him? Like if he was once that would come into play here, or is that not something that would be with this individual?
Ooh, that's a fascinating question. Let me mull it over. And I'll try to give you an answer by the time we come back. Cool.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply, right? So I was just, we were all so anxious to trigger our heart moves this time around, or so I was.
Yeah. I assume she is cheering from the sidelines because I guess everybody else has got this thing going for the Bandit King, and she's just like, throw an elbow, Gaston.
I mull that over, but I think Gilly's heart. I see where she's going with that too, and I want to let her do that. But I do think what we see through that whole thing is Gaston is just loving it, right? Like it's a hard fought. They scrabble through it all, or whatever. But he's laughing. He's like laughing and enjoying himself the whole time, right?
This is great, and I think the like part of it is the Bandit King. Like after initially just like wanting to shame you for your impertinence, also ends up like grudgingly enjoying the challenge here, right? That like you're kind of like matching him. He's wily, he's got experience to bring to bear, but you have just like youthful energy, right? Like there's this dynamic tension here. All right. Caedun, you are sneaking around the edge of the bandit camp to try to get at this witch's hut. Is that correct?
That is correct. Basically trying to stay out of the firelight so that, hopefully we go unnoticed as we get over there.
Yeah. I think you can do that. There's a pretty big distraction going on. The witch's hut kind of looms up before you. It doesn't. It's a hut, right? It doesn't so much have a like door as just a doorway, but it's shadowy. Hard to make out anything inside it. From the outside. What do you do?
Well, this looks like a place where darkness beckons. So I think I want to use that move. Okay.
As you start to peer into the hut too, because all right. Yeah. So the answer is going to affect whatever you observe inside. Sure. When you carefully, investigate a place touched by darkness, roll plus perseverance. Absolutely. Go ahead and roll plus perseverance, Caedun.
Okay. That is an 8.
Nice. On at 7 to 9, ask your questions, but you also draw unwanted attention. So you get to ask 2 questions from the Darkness Beckons list. It's very powerful. What would you like to know?
Okay. I think what evil or suffering has this place witnessed? And what will the darkness do if unopposed?
Yeah. So I think you start to look around, right? And kind of true to its nature, right? Like this witch's hut is kind of filled with shelves covered in bones and kind of like stoppered vials that are like bubbling or hissing a little bit, right? It's kind of dark, cramped, close confines here. There is kind of hanging from the wall of the hut the symbol of Saint Thessa, Saint Thessa, of course, is that saint whose cult was outlawed after the unsuccessful rebellion that your heretic parents were part of, Caedun. Remind me, what is the symbol of Saint Thessa that Caedun immediately recognizes?
I think it a raised open palm that has briars winding between the fingers.
Oh, that's a great symbol. Yeah. So that's kind of that's up on the wall, and then like below it, and as clearly like as clearly a shrine, yeah, are small small kind of like framed drawings of a a man, a woman, several children. It looks like a whole family, which you correctly surmise because you've seen shrines like this elsewhere. That these are people who fell in the as casualties of this rebellion. So the some of the evil or suffering is just the suffering of those left behind, those orphaned by this war. What will the darkness do next if unopposed? Yeah, I think there's like yeah, like gonna go classic here. There's a little like twig effigy of King Hadithar on the central table of this in this hut. Little twig man that's definitely the king because of the little twig crown he's got wearing on. He's got wearing, and he's like pinned to the table by these long sharp needles. So there's a a plot against the kingdom itself, by those who resent the outcome of that last war, and that is part of what's brewing here. Does that work for you as some initial answers here?
I think so. And is that tiara anywhere visible?
Yeah. So I think what was the other result of a 7 to 9 hit on Darkness Beckons is you also draw unwanted attention, correct? And I'm remembering correctly, you rolled a 7 to 9 on this one. Yes, cool. So like as you like start to like poke around, what seemed to be an unoccupied corner of the hut, from what seemed to be an occupied corner, suddenly a voice speaks, and she says, "What are you doing here?" And then like starts muttering something indecipherable under her breath. Perhaps a spell. Maybe you'll find out in a moment. But you see this girl, younger than you, but wearing what are kind of the like sort of like ragged robes of a hedge witch, and she is clutching in her hands this stone tiara that matches that statue whom you met previously. Kay, are you kind of at Caedun's heels here as he's started to poke around this hut?
Yeah, I think Kay would be probably fascinated by something found in here, and has one of his books out, and he's cross-referencing it to like he's just in it, is aware of something's going on over there.
So he's not even looking at the witch,
because everything's secret is worth uncovering, and I've got these tomes here, right? So if that makes if that makes sense, to pour over tomes right now. Does that?
It's not necessarily the smartest choice from a like in world perspective, but I'm definitely up for you to trigger the move and see what happens.
Because I think it's possible, because we established that he knows something about witches, that he might learn something about this witch in particular.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. You
Okay.
carry a satchel of useful volumes with you. When you turn to these texts for answers, roll plus ingenuity.
So I'm going to use my roll with advantage. My ingenuity is currently still befuddled from falling in that pit.
Oh wow, you're befuddled. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's a flat roll, but you've got advantage from your resolve.
So we'll see if my tomes are accurate in regarding to this witch.
All right.
All right, so let's roll that again.
And just for a visual, since we've introduced this
10.
New character, we've
Nice.
kind of what we're thinking about here, right? And probably her eyes are like going white as she's muttering this spell. Yeah. You rolled a 10 on pour over tomes.
Yeah, my two highest got a 10.
Nice. Okay. On a hit, you find a story or insight relevant to your situation. Work out with the GM what it is. On a 10 plus, write yourself a lesson based on what you've learned. So we work out a story or insight here, and you write a lesson that you get to that like has to be like kind of reasonably drawn from that, but then you get to like tap it for advantage as need be. Okay, so
I don't know if like we get like the encyclopedia entry of this origin of this particular witch, like her name and stuff.
That's wild. I'm trying to justify in my head, how that would be. Here's what I'll give you, right? Like maybe there's like accoutrements in this hut that you find discussed in your book, right? And they're connected to a like mantle of a witch named Ygrita. Ygrita. She's in the NPCs tab. So basically, like, it's not so much that like this book was written by someone who'd met this person who, as I said, was like younger than you, but that like she has taken on the mantle of a witch of old that is discussed in your book as a kind of person who dabbled in dark magic, but did things that were helpful for the folk of the country and the forest, right? And so was kind of hidden from the church and the crown because she was providing healing potions and love potions for the people who turned to her. So is that give you something to work with there as far as what this like witch mantle might mean?
It sounds like almost like a shaman figure or something like that the people relied on for support. So I think like Kay probably like closes his book, stands up, and he's like turning to Caedun to say, "It's Ygrita," and probably just sees her there.
Yeah, beautiful. So what lesson do you want to take away from your reading?
Let's see. Is there like a formula or primer on writing lessons, or
kind of look at the starting lessons everybody has, I guess, as an example of the type of thing they are, right? Like, I see in the chat, you can't kill a symbol like Batman. I'm also up to like cut back to the other squires while you mull the lesson.
I'm gonna need a little bit of time to generate something here. So if you want to go to Caedun or someone else.
Yeah, I'm Caedun, give me a sense of how you're reacting to this, because it sounds like Kay like turns to you, excitedly pointing at his book, and then like takes in that like the witch is here and has seen you.
Kay is completely spaced out and just turns and says, "It's a Greta," and
you broke up a little bit there, at least for me.
Okay. Looked like I was had a freeze on my end as well.
Okay.
Okay. So
tell me again what you
Caedun,
do.
okay. Caedun steps forward and he whispers the litany of Saint Thessia.
Oh.
Nice.
And this is him flaunting his heritage.
That's
Yes.
true. That's true. You gain a heart for that. Absolutely. And she stops in her spell, right? You know, like pauses, and she says, You know the ways of Saint Thessa?
And he whispers, "My family was part of the rebellion as well."
You've come here to help me?
And he looks pointedly at her, and he says, "The rebellion is over. Those wounds don't need to be reopened. So many." And he turns and he looks at the picture, and he says, "So many have already fallen to defend what? A saint that forsook us, stood for, and she left us."
Yeah. You're breaking up slightly, but I think I got the gist of this.
But basically, he's pushing, saying that basically that fight is not worth revisiting because the saint that we fought for, forsook us.
Yeah.
Basically, he's pushing in that direction, hoping that like he can kind of break through that, because obviously she's still like nursing those wounds, like a lot of the families from that rebellion would be, right?
So what she says is, if your family suffered like mine did, then you have to know we are doomed to fight our father's battles. We have no choice, which is also a lesson she's trying to impart. So, Caedun, do you accept or reject that lesson?
I think I think he's going to. I think he is going to accept it, but not interpret it the same way she is.
Okay. So when you accept the lesson someone is imparting to you, mark a notch and record the lesson. I think the lesson is something like, we are doomed to keep fighting our father's battles. Is that kind of the way Caedun receives it?
I think what Caedun takes away from it is we are doomed to refight these same battles because we refuse to let them go. Like the cycle continues because we force it. Like the reason we're still fighting this battle is.
I think if it's that much of a reframe, you'd have to reject the lesson. You can accept the lesson as we are doomed to keep fighting our father's battles, or you could reject it and try and reframe it.
I think I'm gonna reject it then.
Yeah, okay, remember you get XP for accepting the lesson.
I know. Yeah. I know, but it doesn't feel like it would work for him, like from where his headspace is. So,
all right,
I do want the notch, but I can't. I think it would be kind of I think it would be messing with the character a little bit too much. Of course, he might end up accepting it anyway.
Question though about accepting or rejecting lessons too. Like, does that mean like does it mean like you take it on as something you believe, or is it something where you're like, I acknowledge this is the way the world is? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, what it says is
Oh.
on a miss their words, or rather, I see. Yes, when you're choosing to accept the lesson, it's kind of saying that
is
their
it
words have a big impact on you, right? And
okay?
so it doesn't necessarily, like, you might like be still like rebelling against the lesson you've accepted, but like
Okay.
you've written it
Okay.
down, it's become a like, touchstone for you, and it will
Okay.
like have the like advantage or disadvantage effect going forward, right?
Okay. Well, I think I can accept it then. I think if that's, I was thinking it was something like I was incorporating it, like, like in a mask shifting labels kind of way. Like I was really taking it deeper than I think the lesson really means for me to take it.
I mean, so when you accept it, it's going to go on your playbook, and it will give you your advantage and disadvantage as relevant, and it kind of becomes a thing you have to deal with. But yeah, you can take a notch and write it down if you in some way seem to accept what she's saying, right?
The lesson would be we are doomed to fight our father's battles or something like that.
That's correct.
Because like maybe it seems true to you now, even if you don't like it, and you're gonna want to push against it. Because I don't know how many people you've interacted with who also are familiar with your struggle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a long time. Like I'm guessing, basically, since he became a squire, he has probably had almost no contact with his family. Because that's kind of the way squiring works. You go somewhere else, and you live with some knight who you're squiring for. So
Yeah.
So
so it takes you way
accept
back.
that.
Yeah.
I will accept the lesson. I've noted it on the playbook, and I just go ahead and check the notch now.
Go ahead. Yeah. So we're gonna wrap soon, and we'll pick up next week to figure out more of what transpires. Keep in mind when we return next week that the rallying oration thing is still in effect. In fact, maybe I'll just do a note to myself along those lines. But I do want to end with a last image here. So, Gaston, you may get your wish eventually, but I think not immediately, right? Like you're wrestling the Bandit King. It seems like he is a man, right? A powerful man, a confident man, perhaps an overconfident man, but there isn't some like tinge of poison or curse, right? But as like as you like break apart, kind of like catching your breath, having like reached something of a stalemate in this match, he kind of like slowly nods towards you and says, "You've impressed me, young squire. I will let you leave with your life if you so desire," he says magnanimously. And Gilly, if you want to get his attention, you can try and do that before we wrap here.
I think Gilly like runs over to like, because like she doesn't know if Gaston's gonna, in one of his moods where he's like, I would never be so callous as to save my life. You know what I mean? And so I think she like runs up and kind of like takes his arm, like, that would be a good idea. And as she like drifts over, I think she locks eyes with the Bandit King, who has not seen her previously. And I would like to spend 3 heart to receive a dramatic prophecy of their future.
Yeah, that's great. You see this scene, right? This scene of storm and turmoil, and the Bandit King standing at the head of an army, a ragtag army of the the dregs of the land, and on his brow is this stone diadem, and from his hands is crackling this magical lightning, and he he is leading an uprising against the knights of Luthenvel, but kind of in his eyes there's something kind of mad and gone, right? Like in kind of claiming this magical power for himself, he's lost whoever it was he used to be. And that is the dramatic prophecy you receive when you lock eyes with the Bandit King.
Oh my goodness.
And maybe that'll be where we break off for the evening, but let's do a quick round of checking our end of session triggers. So, Caedun, did others turn to you for leadership?
It sounded like they did.
I think they did, absolutely.
Did at
I think
least
you get to
once.
mark a notch for that. Gaston, did you help someone who seemed like an enemy? Ooh, interesting.
I don't think so. Doesn't seem like I did.
You were not one of the ones who was, being nice to poor Brannigan.
No.
That is all right. Gilly, did you boldly share a difficult truth?
I was 2 seconds away from totally sharing a difficult truth. Probably not, unless yelling at Caedun for not catching up, or Kay for catching up to us was then no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to leave you notchless, so it works for me to count, because you had some like moments of being frustrated with people's slowness and stuff. We can work that in here.
Okay. She did
I'll be
speak her
generous.
mind.
It's the end of session 2. And Kay, did you resolve a tense situation peacefully?
I can't think of any.
Here's my pitch. You encountered a wolf in the forest, and then became friends with it, which some might argue is turning a tense situation into a peaceful resolution.
Cool.
Yeah, you also like engaged with Brannigan, like, and it felt like you kind of diffused all that with all of your like, how does one become a Bandit King? How does all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
That was pretty good too.
Fair
Awesome.
enough. All right, then I'm going to stop our recording. Anyone who's been watching along, thanks for joining in. We'll be back with more Vow of the Knight-Aspirants in the weeks to come. But till then, stay safe out there.